All right, Infernal Blessings, we are back with another video. This will be a pretty brief one, 15, 20. So I'm going to do some abbreviated announcements. Again, if you're interested in a spiritual reading, look in the description box. They offer various different types of readings. If you're interested in a reading or a spiritual consultation, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com. Please include in your email your full availability on a weekly basis, including the time zone, and we'll find a day and time that works for you. I offer, again, shadow work readings, Klipothic demonic readings, Santa Muerte readings, Egyptian oracle readings, deity readings, etc. Also, check out the Primordial Chaos Patreon page at patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Tier 3, that's the tier you want to join. That's going to give you access to the 3 private classes I do every month on Patreon, including the group ritual that we do at the end of the month. Keep in mind, when you join the Patreon page, you don't just get access from the day you join moving forward. You also get access to everything in the archives going 7 years back. That's patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti. Also, don't forget to check out the social media pages. Primordial Chaos 9, all one word, on Instagram. Primordial Chaos 2 words on Facebook. PrimordialChaos.com 3 on TikTok. Go to those platforms, subscribe. That'll keep you up to date on the latest announcements, classes, happenings, and this way you know what's going on. Also, 9th Annual Journey of the Black Adept Conference. That'll be the last month of October 2026. More info to come on that. Don't forget to check out the podcast, available on Spotify, all major podcast platforms. That's the Primordial Chaos Podcast. Also, don't forget to hit that like button. Gets that algorithm going. Subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell. Click all notifications. That'll get you notified every time I go live or post a new video. All right. My contact email, the link to the Patreon page, the social media platforms, the podcast. All those links are in the description box of the video you're watching right now. This is going to be a quick one. So you may, or most people may not have, because they throw stuff in the news, the important stuff, and nobody pays attention to it. Just somebody emailed me this morning, and I've mentioned this months back, and I told people, pay attention. So Trump and the White House released the official UFO files, showing proof that there is activity, there is evidence that this is very real. Now, I keep telling people, anytime there's something going on in the world, anytime they're saturating something in the media, it's always a distraction for something greater that they're doing, because it's a veil. It creates a cover, a distraction, right? So you got the war with our conflict with Iran going on, all the shit bubbling in the Middle East. You got the economy, people struggling with inflation, gas prices. So there's so much distractions. Now, if you remember, I told you about 4 or 5 months ago, they televised it on C-SPAN, when they had these panels discussing these UFO files. Do UFOs exist? Is this real? Should all this be released to the public? I told you back then, nobody paid attention to it. Nobody watched it. I watched a good amount of it. And it was on for like 2 or 3 days. And this was like a 6-7 hour all day thing. And if you go back from that point till today, just remember recently, a few weeks back, now there was that Asian lady that was working. She was I don't know her title. I can't remember her name. She was one of the government officials who was unveiling some of these files and this information. There was a couple others, and they've magically disappeared. I believe one committed suicide, and the others just vanished in thin air. Very coincidence? I don't think so. Right? And I've been telling you guys, they always create a distraction or a veil or a cover to do what they want. So in those panel discussions that they aired on C-SPAN a few months back, they're always slick, because they're always going to leave the door open, like, do they exist or do they not? So they don't say they don't exist, and that's what you came away from it, right? And it's crazy, because as I'm driving right now to pick my son up, I live close to a private Air Force base, a private, like Air Force, not Air Force like military, but a lot of military flies out of there. And I've been seeing a lot of military crafts in the last 2-3 days, even by my office, because it's literally 2 blocks away from my office. But anyway, but the whole point is, they always leave that, do they exist or do they not? So in those C-SPAN discussions and panels that they aired, They didn't say they didn't exist, but they really also didn't confirm 100% that it's real. It's kind of like, we're going to feed you the information to a point where we're not really admitting anything, but we're also not saying they don't exist. You kind of come to that conclusion. Well, if you're paying attention to your news feeds, whatever apps you have, you'll see it in the New York Post. If you got Samsung's news app, it's all over every app. This morning they released these files. They've even shown some images with some of the, even going as far back as the Apollo. Many other times they've sent things to outer space, astronauts, Air Force pilots. They have a lot of documented images and video showing, I mean, you can sit there and deny it, this quote-unquote paranormal activity or unidentified flying objects, UFOs, right? And it's funny how they got it going as far back as the 60s. Now, even further, really. But the reality is this is what I keep saying. First of all, you gotta be a damn fool if you are still wrestling with the idea if there is extraterrestrial. Do they exist? Is there life on other planets? Have we been visited? I've talked about this on and off over the years. If you haven't already come at least to that conclusion, you're delusional. Okay? I've been telling you for years. All you gotta do is research the MJ-12, Area 51, Roswell, Billy Myers. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff going back to the 40s and 50s and further that you can research and show that this activity's been going on for a long time. It's just they've been suppressing it. Now, a lot of people say that was one of the reasons why they took JFK, President Kennedy, out. Because a lot of people say at that time, right before he was shot or assassinated, we should say, so-called shot by some random dude, which that's not true, but that's a whole nother story, that he was getting ready to reveal a lot of this stuff to the public. Okay? So the White House and the Trump administration coming out this morning and releasing this stuff it's not really news, dude. Right? It's just nobody. Man, look at the timing of it. Do you think it's a coincidence that they do it right at this time? I don't think so. Okay? Do you think they release it at the time when you got all this chaos and distraction going on? Do you think it's a coincidence that those prominent government officials disappeared that had information in regards to this? Just go back and look. I question the timing of it. I question the events that's going on with it. And then I also question them actually releasing it. Okay? But what we don't question, and nobody at this point should be questioning, if you don't think there's intelligent life forms on other planet or other planets, if you don't think we have not been visited by other intelligent life forms from other galaxies and other planets, I don't care how sci-fi that sounds, or I know it sounds bizarre, because that's their job over the years, to indoctrinate you with movies and TV shows exploiting this, because then when things really start to happen, you can't decipher between what's real, what's bullshit, and what's entertainment. But the reality is, as they say, as time goes on, time will reveal all things in truth. And even as the very Quran says of the Muslims, all falsehood will vanish and the truth will prevail. And time has a way of doing that. So there's only so much, well, what they call linear time anyway, but there's only so much bullshit, lies, and just things you can do to hide and keep this shit concealed. You're not going to be able to do it forever. So it's interesting now to see where it goes from this point. And even as I told you before, when you go back to the Persian Gulf War, don't think this is just about oil. When you go back to the Persian Gulf War in Iraq, remember, they were also excavating through there for relics going back to the ancient Babylonians, Chaldeans, and Sumerians. I told you there was stuff connected to that with Pazazu. Two fallen angelic beings called Gog and Magog, which they named those cities after, that you see in the Bible. They read some of these ancient documents and texts, and they seek these things out because they too seek control, as crazy and bizarre as it may sound. You got to understand, when a group of people who are ruling see that their time is up, and their time is up, they see they're running out of time, there's only so much lies and bullshit they can cover, the only way they can continue to maintain control and power is through fear, is through indoctrination, is by maintaining that power and control. That's how they stay strong. And it's all about power and control. They have to enforce control through these systems of fear and indoctrination, so you rely and depend on them. As soon as you wake up and you don't rely and depend on them, and you're not believing every goddamn thing they're telling you, that's when things start to change. Well, a lot of people are starting to wake up. And you know what? It's going to get to a point, don't really matter what path you claim, right? We all have our own spiritual practices, our own spiritual paths that we're on, right? And all of us are on a spiritual path, regardless of what we call it. I don't care if it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, the left-hand path, the occult, African traditional spirituality. We're all on a path to grow, evolve, and change. We're all on a path of enlightenment to awaken. There's going to be certain things that are global issues that it's going to take all of us to get on board. This is what I've been saying for years. And that's why if you go back years back, I said you're going to see this is bigger and goes way beyond just race. And race card is another thing that is used to separate and divide people. I've been saying that for years. And look, as I said before, racism is real, no doubt. We're not going to sit here and pretend like racism doesn't exist. Racism exists. It's alive and well and strong. I'm saying racism and the race card separation and division is used as a tool because the more people stay divided and separated, that gives the powers that be, those who control, politics, the economic system, the educational system, the religious and political system, it keeps them in power and control. So it's the old conquer and divide method. It's the same thing with this. They're trying to feed you slowly what's going on in the universe as far as intelligent life form and other galaxies, because their biggest fear is they don't want you to panic and fear. What if they came out and said, yes, there are intelligent life forms in other galaxies, extraterrestrials are real, flying crafts are real? Think about really mentally dead religious folks, how that would just kill religious faith and belief. How do you explain that? I'm not talking those who go into the deeper meanings of the Bible. Yes, the Bible mentions crafts in Ezekiel. The Bible mentions crafts and revelations. It's in their scriptures, but your average religious person doesn't even look at any of those things in that light or regards. But just think of somebody who's just completely spooked out and operating on ignorant faith and belief with no proof. They just operate on blind faith and blind faith only. Think about that for a minute. That person's religious foundation would be destroyed. So they can't just come out and give you this and just wholeheartedly make a formal announcement they agree with all this, because religion's a big business. Religion brings in a lot of money. I mean your mega churches and your mega evangelists, just the whole religious structure. It's also a hustle. It's a con. It's a game. That would just destroy a lot of people's foundational beliefs on religion. So they can't do this. So all I'm saying, because I don't have much time, I'm almost at my destination, none of this should be a surprise. This has been culminating over the last several months. Pay attention. Don't get wrapped up in what they're putting in the mainstream media. And everything in the media now is the war with Iran, all the conflicts going on in the world, the Middle East, Ukraine, Russia, the gas prices, and it's fucked up, don't get me wrong, it's a sign of the times. But it's a distraction too, because when that's going on, you best believe they are doing bigger things that you're just not seeing on the surface, because they have to create these distractions. I've been saying this for I don't know how many years. Even when COVID was going on, they were making power moves on their end. Don't get caught up in the hype. Like Flav said in Public Enemy, the song, Don't Believe the Hype. Stop believing the hype, people. Wake the fuck up. Pay attention to what's going on. What is magic? What's the definition of magic? I forgot the name of the book. I'm drawing a blank. The five books of satanic philosophy. I can't remember the full name of the book. A book I love. But the definition of magic, that magic is the science of one understanding themselves and being completely in control of their immediate surroundings and environment. That's what magic is. So make sure you are completely in control of your immediate surroundings and environment. Don't let them control that. Because if you let them control that, you're going to put yourself in a bad situation. You're going to find yourself being one of the sheeple instead of one of the people who are in control and navigating their destiny and making them choices for themselves and not letting others do it for them. Okay? Remember, magic is the science of one understanding themselves and their immediate surroundings and environment. The problem is we have a lot of people that are not even in control of their immediate surroundings and environment. All right, I got to go. I just wanted to shoot this quick one. I hope this video helped. Infernal blessings. You know where to reach me for a reading, a consultation, my contact email address, the links to the social media pages, the Patreon pages. All of those links are in the description box of this video you're watching right now. That's going to do it for me. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell, hit all notifications so you get notified every time I go live or post a new video. Infernal blessings, I'm out of here.